The lands and seas of the world of Warhammer are vast, mighty, and dangerous. The planet is home to a large variety of amazing and frightening species, including many different creatures and beasts that lurk in caves, tunnel networks, and underwater passages. Creatures that roam the open fields or fly high above all others. What follows is a collection of works by the Doctor of Biology and Zoology from the University of Nuln, Stefan Hoffman. In this video, we will explore the majestic creatures known as griffins, demigryphs and hippogriffs. We will travel to the mountains and the capital city, the empire and beyond, to search for them and see the creatures with our own eyes. Deep in the histories of men, elves and dwarves, there lies a single event that struck the entire world like a massive storm. It is said that like crackling thunder, the skies were split in twain by red, evil energies flowing, and men and beast were as one. With the breaking of the polar gates and the overwhelming flow of chaos, the race of beastmen came to be. But many other animals were also mutated. The energies that flow from the gaping wound in the north can warp and twist creatures, turning them into monstrous and terrifying abominations. These mutations can range from minor deformities to radical changes in the creature's physiology. All mutations are semi-random, one could say. What grants life its unending diversity is the environment's selection for certain ones. Advantageous mutations, like what happened to the beastmen, dreadfully selected to live, also happen to other beings, the hybrid animals that we are all now accustomed to. But I imagine that in the older days, one would be terribly frightened when seeing a mixture between raptor bird and equine. In the pursuit of further studies on those demi-animals, I travelled to the most remote places that money and courage would allow me to watch these magnificent creatures in their natural habitat. Taking advantage of my connections with the dwarfs of the mountains, I got myself a guide to take me through a hike on the World's Edge Mountains themselves. My dwarf guide, a gentleman named Bugman, allowed me the privilege of scaling a high mountain peak alongside him. Apparently, he is a legendary brewmaster, although as one who does not bow to mundane pleasures, I know him not. There, after some days of grueling travel, I managed to spot a griffin mother standing tall on some rocks, so high above us that I had to use a spyglass. How beautiful can one animal truly be? The griffin is simply amazing. Their plumes are colourful and shiny, as if recently washed and brushed. Its lower body is that of a feline, and the upper half is that of a harpy eagle, a combination that is only possible by the raw power of magic. In the field of battle, griffins are formidable opponents. They can fly at high speeds and swoop down to attack their enemies with their sharp talons and powerful beak. Griffins can also use their wings to create powerful gusts of wind to knock down or disorientate their foes. Due to their lion-like strength, they can also grapple with large enemies and hold them down. These creatures are revered as symbols of nobility and courage. They are intelligent creatures and are fiercely loyal to their riders. A griffin will often bond with a single rider for life, and they are known to mourn the loss of their rider deeply. The Emperor himself is said to ride a mighty imperial griffin to battle. Its name is Deathclaw, and it is said that a powerful bond exists between the creature and the Emperor. I have never seen the beast myself, but I can only wonder what a magnificent specimen it is. Anyway, there's a popular tale that describes Deathclaw as being so loyal to his master that the beast stood guard over the prone form of the wounded Emperor during the Battle of Blood Keep, all in order to buy time for the Reichsguard to arrive to his aid. I have been informed by many accounts that oftentimes Deathclaw can be seen flying freely over Altdorf and returning to his cage when the moon rises. I'll make a mental note to myself to try and look for it the next time I visit the busy city. It is also said that the elves of Ulthuan are known for riding the beasts as well, and the Ulthuani variety of griffin is said to be even more majestic. How can that be? I wouldn't know. I'd have to look at one myself to finally believe it. As I turned to check on Bugman, I found him near a nest containing some eggs. The dwarf clearly intended to capture the eggs of the marvelous creatures so that he could sell them for a pretty penny to imperial nobles and fund his ranger ventures. I begged him not to do it. All I got back from the dwarf was a scornful look. It didn't last long, for the griffin swooped down to beak us to death. Had it not screeched loudly, I am afraid we would not have kept our heads, for its sharp talons got dangerously close to us. The other two rangers that were with us raised their crossbows, but as quickly as it came, the griffin took to the skies once again. To prevent any unfortunate situation, we were quickly on our way, going down once again and changing routes. 2 days later, as we are travelling to Altdorf, I think to myself, what a wonderful world! To learn about these majestic beasts is turning out to be the adventure of a lifetime. But every time I share my enthusiasm with others, they seem to disregard me. Well, I don't blame them. Many of these individuals have seen the worst of the world, and Sigmar knows how many terrors from beyond. I guess if I were a warrior that fights in the front lines myself, I wouldn't be so enthusiastic about the world we live in. I better keep my thoughts to myself. I will keep on my mission to learn about these great and varied beasts, and I'm actually excited for the next one. Saying goodbye to Bugman, I walk into the house of the noble that was recommended to me by the friend of a friend. His name is Grin, also known as Master Rider Grin. He will give me some insight on the next beast we will be exploring. As the name suggests, these creatures are almost literally half a griffin, having the entire body of a lion, the head of a bird of prey, and no wings. They stalk the deep forests of wild places, generally far away from humans. These creatures are really special, and as I take note, I ask Master Rider Grin to tell me more about them.
Yes, these animals are undoubtedly special, but beyond their appearance, they aren't that dissimilar to any other species. Especially with the likes of many other predators, your bond with them is based upon mutual respect. In other simpler terms, you treat them well, and they won't claw your bowels out on a Wallentag afternoon.
Unlike other monstrous rides, which are generally taken when still young and are easily tameable, the demigryph is captured already matured, used as mounts by various knightly orders of the Empire. The capture of a demigryph is seen as a rite of passage for the potential rider, an extremely dangerous rite, I think. But then I learned that is precisely the point.
Pro creatures they are, and quick with it too. That's why we build their stables far away from the recruits' barracks, and keep a tight guard around them. You don't want any of those idioten around them before they cut their careers short. Besides, I've had one escaping already, by clawing at a loose wooden board. He'll work on the all by night and cover with day by morning, that bastard.
In battle, they are used as a mount, and paired with their noble and capable riders, they are a deadly weapon. As soon as the war cry is raised, the Demigryph Knights will assemble into their own elite shock cavalry squadrons.
But despite it all, they're fiercely loyal. I've collected many stories of knights saved by their demigriffs. But to try and build that kind of bond? You'll be luckier settling down grudges with a dwarfold. At least a noble out of three that comes waltzing around here gets the souvenir of a lifetime.
In contrast to the typical warhorse, a demigryph will not necessarily try to kill its target by crushing it with a ferocious charge, but will instead rely on its superior size and power to overwhelm its foe. The demigryph, when pushed to charge, would first jump on the enemy, then follow up with a series of quick swipes from under his muscular claws.
And that is why we don't allow anybody, not even amongst the hierarchy, to work with them without training. A demigryph doesn't care for your status. If you want to ride along with them, you gotta enter their own world, and leave all your pretty ribbons and medals behind. And then maybe, they'll take you into consideration. If you still have the mastery to ride one, of course.
A demigryph's tremendous endurance would allow it to fight fiercely for hours, during which it would savagely tear its prey to shreds with its claws and beak. On top of that, the rider will also fight with his own weapon so that the enemy is technically facing two living foes at once. Two individuals that have trained for combat for many years and have most likely gone through many adventures and fierce battles together.
We work closely with all the aspiring knights and make sure nobody gets hurt, on both parties. Especially considering how vindictive these animals can be. Wrong one, and you may have made an enemy for life. But this is also why all of those who have worked with them for a long time have developed a passion for the job. They ask a lot from their companion, it's true, and have little patience for our nonsense. Yet, if you can manage to get through to them, they'll give back tenfold, I promise. To this day, still nothing on this earth can get close to the joy I felt the first time riding a demigryph.
After a demigryph has earned its master's trust, the two will remain inseparable until the death of the prey or the death of the rider. There are tales abound of demigryphs stalking the killer of their rider in order to avenge the death of their noble knight. After a long chat, darkness falls over the city of Altdorf, and the first drops of rain begin to pelt against the cobblestone streets and the roof above us. Master Rider Grin points me to a wooden door, the room in which I'll be staying for the night. The next morning the sun shines and the streets of Altdorf are glistening and slick, the only evidence of the storm that has passed. As I say goodbye, I start walking towards the southern gate of the city to head for my next destination. And suddenly, there it is! I can see Deathclaw flying over the city, just as Bugman and the others had told me. But he's not alone. The Emperor himself seems to be riding him. What a sight! Just a couple of days later, I find myself arriving at the Grey Mountains near Bretonnia, where we will learn about a marvelous creature that inhabits that place. The savage hippogriffs dwell on the highest peaks and deepest mountains. There I spot a wild one. I cannot really get too close as these beasts are known to be really aggressive. Unlike the royal griffin, a hippogriff is known to go berserk at the slightest provocation, hunting men and beast alike, haunting sheep herders and cattle farmers as well as orcs, goblins and anything not smart or quick enough to hide. Hippogriffs have such an intense craving for warm flesh that anyone in their immediate vicinity are able to physically feel the intensity of their famished state. It has been reported that those who make it through an encounter with a hippogriff typically maintain a heightened awareness of their surroundings for many years afterward. These creatures have the upper body of a bird of prey, the forequarters of a mountain lion, and the rear end of a particularly strong horse, tail and all. Their savagery is sought after by courageous knights of Bretonnia, who sometimes prefer a machine of death for a mount rather than the glorious Pegasi that are also a popular mount amongst some of the noble knights of Bretonnia, because they are quicker, but they are also less aggressive. Capturing a hippogriff at a young age is essential for successful training, but the fierce territoriality of the adult specimens makes it a high-risk endeavour to hunt for eggs or young ones. Grail knights who manage to tame such an ill-tempered beast often receive the royal insignia, given by the Royaks themselves. These are then organised into elite flying shock cavalry, and are a very serious threat to any foe on the battlefield. After observing the wild creature, I thank Sigmar for allowing me to study these beasts without taking any harm until now. I will rest for some time before going to the sacred forest of Athelloren, where we will learn about a truly mighty creature of ancient origins.